Rambam says, mitzvahs ner Hanukah, mitzvah chaviva hi ad ma'od. Very uncharacteristic of the Rambam to, like, it looks like he like burst forth with emotion. Mitzvahs ner Hanukah, mitzvah chaviva hi ad ma'od. Usually the Rambam sticks to just the halacha, what you need to do, what you're not allowed to do. You hear the Rambam elaborates. Mitzvahs Hanukah is a very favorable mitzvah. So let's try to understand what the Rambam is telling us. I've come to a conclusion that I wasn't invited here to give you regular Littish attire. I could have invited many other Rabbanim to do that. So I'd like to give you the hair of what Hanukkah is about. There's a pasuk in Parshas Nitzavim. The pasuk says, "Ki hamitzvah azois asher noich mitzavcha hayom lo nifleisim evachol v'rechoika hi lo v'ashemayim hi lo yemar miyad olanu hashemayim miyikachel olanu lo yemar hayom hi lo yemar miyad olanu lo yemar hayom ki kol ve'elach adam v'moed v'ficha v'vam chalases." So the Torah Kedusha tells us the mitzvah that I'm commanding you is it's not far from you, it's not concealed from you, it's not in heaven, it's not overseas. It's very close to you. What's the Havamina? The Havamina that the Torah is in heaven, the Torah is made by the young, that the Torah has to tell us otherwise. And then there's the Karev Alach Adavim Oid. Not just Karev Alach Adavim, Karev Alach Adavim Oid. It's very close to you. Another two kashas. Parshas Ekev. The pasuk says, "Kol ha-mitzvah asher neichim mitzavcha hayom tishmenu ma'asos." Rashi says, "Kol ha-mitzvah k'neschalta me-mitzvah g'moir oisa." If you start a mitzvah, finish it. Kiloi nikra ha-mitzvah ela al shem goyim. That's what Rashi says. The mitzvah is only called on the name of the person who finishes it. Rashi brings a pasuk that Bnei Yisrael buried the Atzmais Yosef in Shechem. And the pasuk says that Bnei Yisrael brought them out of Mitzrayim and buried them in Shechem. What do you mean Bnei Yisrael brought them out of Mitzrayim? Moshe brought them out of Mitzrayim. Vayikach Moshe's Atzmais Yosef imah. Since Moshe didn't finish the job, he didn't bury them in Shechem, so the mitzvah is not Nikra al Shema. It seems like as if Chazal is some kind of criticism to Moshe Rabbeinu that he didn't finish the job. You, in Meschal Mitzvah, you finish it. Don't be like Moshe Rabbeinu, who didn't finish the job. Moshe Rabbeinu, I'm sure he wanted to finish the job. He couldn't. He wasn't allowed to Eretz Yisrael. What is the criticism here? And then one more, the last kasha is, Kahal say, "Lo olam yasek adam b'Torah mitzvahs shaloi l'shma, she'mitzvah shaloi l'shma v'lo l'shma." A person should always be oisik in Torah mitzvah shaloi l'shma. Through shaloi l'shma you come to the shma. Everybody asks the kasha, says, if eventually I'm going to come to the shma, so why do I need to do shaloi l'shma? So lo olam yasek adam b'Torah mitzvah shaloi l'shma. So I want to say it like this. One of the most successful tactics of the Yetzer Hara, especially when it comes to times like these, Hanukkah, Yom Neroim, any Zman that is Ma'ur Yid to connect. We want to be connected. We want to be connected to the Rebbeinu Shalom. We want to, and every Yid wants to. Let me recall something so I can take a step closer, a step higher. And we think about maybe I should have a new seder, or maybe I should take on myself not to speak lashon hara, or maybe I should throw away the smartphone and take a flip phone. There's, we have all these different machshavos of what we could possibly take on. And then what happens is you hear this little voice whispering to us, saying, "You've been there, you've done that. Rosh Hashanah was not that long ago. You made a Kabbalah, and it lasted until Yom Kippur. And when Yom Kippur you made a Kabbalah, and you know these things don't last. Every time you make a Kabbalah, it just lasts a day or two, a week, a month. That's all. But who you fool?" It's a tactic the Torah uses all the time, usually very successful. The emphasis is that he's wrong. Because the only reason we listen to the Torah is because we underestimate any Maaseh Toiv, any mitzvah that we do. We underestimate it, thinking that if it doesn't last, it was worthless. If a Hanukah Toiva lasted for a day, it was an eternal day. It was that Hanukah Toiva lasts forever. It lasts forever because everything that a Yid does for the Rebbeinu Shalom is eternal. And if it lasted a week, so that week was gewaldic. It was amazing. Why? I shouldn't take it on because it's not going to last. So it won't last. I think that perhaps one of the reasons why there's both on Hanukkah and on Shavuos, there's a minhag to eat milchis. The Ramah brings here on Hanukkah, there's a minhag to eat machal echol. Perhaps, obviously, the famous reason is because of the story of the Agudas. Perhaps there's a deeper reason. That is, we know that after Fleishigs, you're supposed to wait for 6 hours because it's the time lasts in the mouth. By milchis, you can have Fleishigs right afterwards. Milchis doesn't last. This Hanukah of eating milchis is to teach us you should know that Hanukkah is a milchig yontif. It doesn't need to last. Do whatever you can. Do for however it lasts, how long it lasts. It has chashivas. It doesn't need to be fleshig. It doesn't need to last for a long time. If it lasts for a long time, gewaldic. But everything that we do, even if it's for a day, for a week, for a month, and obviously if it lasts longer, part of it. Everything that he does is eternal. That minute lasts forever. That's never extinguished. So fakert, I think Chazal are telling us, Chazal are proving from Moshe Rabbeinu. Chazal are proving from Moshe Rabbeinu, do it even though you know you're not going to finish it. Moshe Rabbeinu already heard in Parsha Shmois. Alto Sira Rashi says, but you're not going to see Lechem Slamed Aleph Malachim. Moshe Rabbeinu knew he's not going to Eretz Yisrael. And he knew that Vayikra Mitzvah El Hashem Goyimra. He knew that the mitzvah is not going to be on his name. Vayikach Moshe Satz Mesiba. And he took out Mesiba anyway. Avada, if it's Chalta Mitzvah, you should try to finish it. But take a look at Moshe Rabbeinu. Even if he knew he wasn't going to be able to finish it, he did it anyway. We find the same thing by the Arim Miklat. Moshe Rabbeinu knew that his 3 Arim Miklat that he designated weren't going to be effective until the Arim Miklat in Eretz Yisrael were established. And nevertheless, Rashi tells us that he did it because of Chavivas HaMitzvah. He did whatever he could, even though it wasn't effective. Perhaps, that's what Kahal are telling us. When you do a mitzvah, lishma means that you're doing it for the sake of your name being called on it. You're doing it for the sake of finishing it. Chazal said, "Oilam yasgadam Torah b'mitzvahs afilu shelo lishma." Be oising in Torah mitzvahs, even though you know your name is not going to be called upon it. You know you're not going to finish. Torah shelo lishma, lo lishma. If you do it just for the sake of doing it, not for the sake of finishing it, lo yolech hamalacha ligma. You don't have to finish it. But if you do it shelo lishma, for the sake, even for the sake of not having your name called upon it, lo lishma. In the end, you'll be able to finish it. We find another 2 instances in Tanakh where we find that one was oisig b'mitzvah, even though he knew he wasn't going to finish it, or he wasn't going to, the impact wasn't going to be realized. One was Avraham Avinu. I'll say, Kaim Avraham Avinu kol Torah kula ad shleinin. Kaim kol Torah kula. Torah wasn't given yet. Nevertheless, Avraham Avinu wanted to be Mekayim mitzvahs. You're not Mesiba yet. There's no shaykhs yet. Doesn't matter. I want to be Mekayim kol Torah. Another case is David HaMelech. David HaMelech, Hashem told him, you're not going to build the Beis Hamikdash. Nevertheless, David HaMelech went and acquired the Makkah. He wanted to have a chelik. He wanted to do whatever he could. You know you're not going to build a Beis Hamikdash. Hashem told you. Doesn't matter. I want to start. What are you doing? Well, I don't need my name. Mo'oid is Rosh Tevis, Moshe, Avraham, David. These were 3 individuals that taught us that do a mitzvah, even though shaloi lishma, meaning without the intention of finishing it. Just for the knowledge that I'm doing whatever I can right now. And the Torah Kedusha tells us, Ki ha-mitzvah azois, asher anochi mitzvah hayom, the mitzvah that I command you today, I know it looks so far-fetched. It looks so far away. It looks so concealed. It's not. Because you only need to do what you can do. The Torah told Avraham Avinu also, the Torah is still in heaven. It hasn't been given yet. Avraham Avinu said, it doesn't matter. Moshe Rabbeinu knew that the Orei Miklat weren't going to be koilet until he goes over to Eretz Yisrael. He knew that he wouldn't be able to bring Aspas Yosef. It's all Meir Alayam. It doesn't matter. All that Rebbeinu wants you to do is what you can do. Moshe, Avraham, and David all taught us this message. Do whatever you can. And this Indian was magnified by the Nes Hanukkah, by both Nes and Hanukkah. They had oil that all it had was enough for one day. Could you imagine the Eitzahara? All we have is for one day. What's the point? Throw in the towel. No, we have enough for one day. And we're gonna do whatever we can do. As long as it lasts. That's as long as it lasts. And then by the Yevanim were a handful of people against the entire Greek army. What do you think? It doesn't matter. We're going to do what we can do. And that's all we need to do. We don't need to see it to the end. That's not our mission. The Sefer Siddur Shal Shabbos, one of the earliest Chasidish Svarim, and he talks about tshuva, and he says that sometimes when a person starts thinking about all the averos they've done, it seems like tshuva is impossible. So he says the same thing. He says just do whatever you can. Do whatever type of tshuva you can do, And he says that's what the Navi says. Shuva Yisrael ad Hashem Elokecha. Just do tshuva until Hashem's part. If you do everything you can do, Hashem will take over. He teaches V'shav Hashem Elokecha Ashvuscha. Hashem will do your tshuva for you, as long as you do your part. You do your tshuva. V'shavta ad Hashem Elokecha. So this concept is called ad. Do until as much as you can do. Says the Rambam, mitzvahs ner Hanukah chavivahi ad ma'oid. It brings out this concept of ad to such a tremendous extreme that all the Yid needs to do is whatever is beyond it. Just start. Don't do it for the sake of having your name on it at the end. All we need to do is what we can do for as long as it goes. And we cannot afford to underestimate the koyach of a mitzvah, the koyach of Hanukah Tova, the koyach of restraining for another 10 minutes. The person has an assignment. I know I'm gonna fall through. It's gonna take 15 minutes, half an hour. I'm gonna give it. I know I'm gonna give in. Doesn't matter. Every minute that a person refrains from doing the Aveira, from looking at what he's not supposed to look at, is a velt. It's a velt. It lasts forever. It's eternal. That's all we need to do, and that is what Mitzvah Ner Hanukah is about. Mitzvah Ner Hanukah, Mitzvah Chaviva Hi.